Hey guys, today we're going to remove some keikis off two Phalaenopsis that I have. Some of them are kind of overdue, but I'm going to walk you through what a keiki is, how to remove them, when you shouldn't remove them, when they're kind of overdue. Some of them are. I have to start repotting soon, so I figured I'd start with some of the low-hanging fruits. So this is my Phalaenopsis Apricot Glow, and it's got a couple of keikis on it. It grows from this spike. And I'm going to start taking them off and potting them up. I also have my Phalaenopsis Tetraspis C1. It's got a huge keiki that I kind of have been ignoring for a while. It grows a lot of keikis all the time. Here's one, and here's a larger one down here at the bottom. That one is overdue, but don't be me. I'm going to share what these are, so let's just get right into it. So what is a keiki? A keiki is basically a baby plant, which is a clone of the mother plant. So you're basically getting a copy of this mother plant. The flowers are going to be the same, and it basically either comes from the base of the Phalaenopsis or oftentimes off the spike of the Phalaenopsis. And it lives off the mother plant. So as you're feeding the mother plant, it starts growing and it gets the nutrient it needs to grow on its own. You shouldn't remove keikis when they're too small. Basically, like if they don't have any roots or enough leaves, I'll get into that in a minute, they're still dependent on the mother, so you shouldn't remove them. But they are ready to remove once you have 2 or 3 leaves, preferably 3, with roots that are at least 2 or 3 inches long. See if we could get this to focus. So this is an ideal candidate. This one right here in the back, this one is not, because we don't have roots that are 2 to 3 inches. We have 2 leaves, but it's not big enough. And this one here, I'd prefer to wait for another root or 2 to come through and for it to get a little longer. We can repot that one, but I'd rather it have more because it grows fast from the mother plant. And when we separate it, it will grow fast as well, but you want it to have a good root system. So in short, it's ready when it has 2 to 3 new leaves, preferably 3. In my opinion, when the roots are 2 to 3 inches at least. Sometimes I wait too long. Don't wait too long or those roots are very stiff and they're harder to put into a pot. And you want to make sure that it looks stable. It's getting bigger over time, which you'll see with the root growth, with the leaf growth. They kind of go hand in hand. Okay, now for the removal, you can either use sterilized scissors or you're gonna cut and twist them right off of the spike. A lot of times you're gonna cut off a piece of the spike and that's okay. I like to twist them off. Keikis are more common in Phalaenopsis and Dendrobium orchids. If you wanna see me remove it from a Dendrobium, check it out right here, but we'll be removing these shortly. You either cut them off or you twist them off. I don't mind twisting them off, but if you're cutting them off, use sterilized scissors. Then we're gonna pot them up in a very small pot, enough to accommodate the roots, but again, it's very important that you keep the pot pretty small. The bigger the pot, the more moisture it holds, the more likelihood that you can rot the plant. So the smaller the pot, the quicker it dries, which is great for keikis. For Phalaenopsis, you want to water them as they're approaching dryness. So you don't want them bone dry for a long period of time, but also you don't want a tiny keiki in a big pot that never dries. So keep that in mind when you're potting them up. I like to use sphagnum moss because I have drier conditions here in New York City. A lot of people can get away with it, provided their environment isn't too humid, but if you have a humid environment, very small bark works well. Very thick, chunky bark will not work as well because the roots won't hydrate very much. But a lot of nurseries use sphagnum moss when orchids are very small because they could use the moisture. You just want to make sure you're not rotting them by keeping it soggy. So as long as the pot dries relatively quickly, you'll be on a good path. You also don't want to overpack the media. So if you're using sphagnum moss, a lot of times you get phals that are packed in this very tight moss. That's usually for shipping purposes, but in the long run, that can rot roots. So you want to keep things nice and fluffy so they can dry out. Then in terms of the aftercare, they do benefit from slightly higher humidity. So you water them as they approach dryness. The light doesn't need to be intense. You kind of back them off a little bit. Since they are baby plants and they're going to be establishing on their own, they're gonna be a little bit more sensitive. Let the roots grow. Once they start pushing out another leaf or two, you can adapt it to the same care that you give your phals, but in the beginning, don't let them stay dry too long. Make sure they have a good humid environment, which can be accomplished if you are watering enough. And you don't want to give them intense light in the very beginning. And for phals, they don't like intense light anyway. Like Vanda level light, it tends to be too much, but with dendrobiums, they do like a higher level of light, but you don't give them that intensity right away. Just give them a couple of weeks to adapt on their own before giving them that intense light. All right, let's remove these keikis. All right, so I have some moss and I have a couple of small pots here. So we're gonna take care of removing these keikis. So let's start with this Phalaenopsis over here. I'm gonna leave this on. I want these roots here in the front to get a little bit longer, so I'm gonna leave that keiki. I'm also gonna leave this keiki since the roots are not as big, but we're gonna remove this one. Let me see if I can gently pull it off. I don't think I can gently pull this one off, so I'm gonna take my cutting tools and I'm just gonna cut the spike. You're gonna get a little piece of the spike on it, and that's okay, just be careful with the roots. And we're gonna get it off, and that's it. So now we have our keiki here. You can see it has a little piece of the spike, and that's okay. Sometimes you're able to twist them off, sometimes you're not, but this is an excellent candidate to repot. It has 3 leaves. The roots are about 2 to 3 inches, and it has quite a few roots, and it's gonna grow nicely. So let's get this potted up next, but first we'll get to our other Phalaenopsis. All right, let's have a look at Phalaenopsis tetraspis C1. We're gonna remove the keikis, and the flowers are gonna be identical. Now with this one, the flowers are kind of unique. They have a different pattern each time, which is quite cool. So this will have the same trait. It'll be the same colors more or less, with sometimes they're white, sometimes they're red, but you're gonna get a copy of the mother plant. So let's take a look at the keikis. This one definitely is ready. You can see that the roots are long enough. So I'm gonna take my scissors, which I've already sterilized from last time, and we're gonna cut the spike right here. Let me give you a closer look. This is the spike, and those are the roots, so we're gonna be very careful. We're gonna give it a snip, and this is ready to go. Let me put this on the right to separate it from the other one. And then we're gonna find that big keiki right here. Geez, I should have repotted this long ago. This one we will keep on, so we'll leave that, we'll leave this on here because it's still kind of small. It only has 1 root. I want to see more roots, which are starting to come in, and I want them to be 2 to 3 inches. But this big mama over here is ready to be removed. So let me show you. You could see all those roots. I should have done this a lot sooner. So we see the spike over here, right? And we're gonna just cut the spike there. I don't think this one I can twist off. So I'm gonna remove this right here. So it has a piece of spike. It has a piece of spike there, which is okay. And we have the roots, so let's get to potting them up. Okay, we have Apricot Glow ready. And I have this pot, but I kind of wish it was a little bit smaller because it's a lot of surface area for those little roots. So what I'm gonna do is, I have a couple of these pebbles. They're decorative stones that I don't need anymore. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the pot to give a little bit more drainage and kind of lift the area where this orchid would be. So this will be at the bottom, kind of give a little bit of height. This way it's not completely surrounded by moss. Then we're gonna put in some fluffy moss right in here. Perfect. Notice I'm not packing it down. Then we're gonna take the orchid, plop it in, and then gently add some roots until this orchid is anchored. You don't want the crown to be covered because with Phalaenopsis that can cause crown rot. So we're gonna be gentle, we're not gonna pot it too deep. We're gonna let the crown sit above, but we're gonna cover the roots. There we go. And then we're gonna get behind this orchid. right here and get some more done. So this should be good. Let me add a tiny bit more to anchor it in. It's actually pretty good. It doesn't move too much. A tiny bit more. But this is what I mean by keeping it nice and fluffy. But we are all set here with Apricot Glow. There we go. It's not wobbling too much. It should be good. So it's nice and fluffy. There's some drainage at the bottom with those rocks. So it's not completely submerged in sphagnum moss. So let's get to the Tetraspis. All right, let's do the Tetraspis. So I did the same thing. I added a couple of rocks in here. And this should help with the drainage and kind of lift it up a little bit because I don't want these to be too soggy, too over potted. I want it to dry a little faster. So what we'll do is we'll add a little bit of fluffy moss. You'll notice how fluffy it is. I'm not packing it down too heavily. This will promote dryness, promote airy roots. We're gonna get it all around the roots. Be gentle. Again, we don't want to cover the crown, and if you look very closely, you'll see another root coming in. From my experience, these keikis, they tend to grow really fast. They bloom quite young, especially these species. Like, you'd be very surprised. And they do tend to grow in a sloped kind of manner. So that's normal. This is a nice little species. It's given me a lot of keikis, and I give them away to friends. I wouldn't be surprised if this is blooming within a year. So this is pretty good. And we're all set here. Let's do the last one. All right, let's pot up the last keiki. This is the last Tetraspis C1. And I think I'm gonna put it in this pot here. And because this is a larger root system, I'm less concerned about the drainage. Like, I think this pot should be big enough to accommodate the roots without being too big. So I'm gonna pot it straight away just in there, keeping the moss nice and fluffy. So we're gonna start with a little bit of moss down here. Put it right in the pot. And then we will put our orchid right in here, our little keiki. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this orchid blooms within 6 months. These species do grow way faster than you can imagine, at least in my experience. Like, I've had keikis with spikes on the orchid, on the mother plant, that are not very old, and they're just a few months old. So they do grow faster than you think. Faster than Cattleyas for sure. We're gonna keep it nice and fluffy. There are lots of planes flying over my building right now, so you might be hearing that, so I apologize for the noise. But you can see how fluffy I keep this. It's gonna be nice and moist for this orchid, maintaining lots of humidity around those roots without drowning this plant. And that's the key for a lot of Phalaenopsis and a lot of orchids in general when you're using moss. This is why I have a lot of success with it. You want to make sure the pot isn't too big and that you're not packing down too heavily. And I think that's good enough. So this is all done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions down below. But as I get started with repotting very soon, I think I'm going to go through all of my shelves one by one, which are kind of messy, and I'll flush them first and repot them. I'll just dedicate a day a week to get one shelf done. So hopefully it'll keep me sane, but maybe every Saturday or Sunday morning, I'll dedicate the time to flush everything in one set of shelves and repot whatever needs it. Let me know what you guys think of the approach, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye everyone.